Hello, everybody. My name is Brooke. Welcome to our On the Move recording. The goal of this class is to help us build strength and get more comfortable in walking around. So because we are working from home, we have limited space. We're going to work on what we call stepping today. So rather than actually walking around our space, we're going to be stepping using our chair for support. This is going to help us to build strength in the muscles that we need for walking. We're going to work on a little bit of balance and stability, and we're going to get some exercise in. So let's go ahead. Let's start by coming into our chairs. I do not have a chair at home with me that has arms, but if you do have a chair with arms, I encourage you to use that one if you feel like it's easier to get up and down. So just give a moment. Think about the chair that we're choosing here for our workout today. We do want to have a nice sturdy chair that feels like it can fully support our weight. As we come into our seats, we're going to start by lining ourselves up here. So toes are lined up across the front, feet and knees in line with our hips. Let's take a couple of big shoulder shrugs up and around to the back. Sometimes if we are struggling a bit with our balance, we can carry a lot of tension in the shoulders and the neck because we are constantly working to keep ourselves from feeling like we're going to tip over. So this is our opportunity here just to let go of that tightness, that tension. Slowing our breath a bit. And let's take the shoulders up and around one more time. All right, now we're also going to think about having a neutral pelvis in our seated position. So I'm going to show you a little side angle view. Sometimes when we sit down, we'll roll back in the pelvis, kind of letting ourselves slump forward here. That's going to put a lot of strain on our lower back. We certainly don't want that. We also don't want to hyperextend through the lower back, so feeling like we're pushing the belly button ahead. We want to find that sweet spot right in the middle. So we're high up on our sitting bones, and the back of the pelvis should feel fairly flat here. This allows our spine to stack right up out of the pelvis and should really help our lower back to stay comfortable. We're going to put our hands lightly behind us in our chairs, and we're just going to start a little seated march. Now think about keeping the chest up, belly is engaged, and we are pushing through the balls of the feet. So we're starting to bring a little warming into the abdominals and the hips. Just alternating one knee lifting up and then the other. Almost imagine there's a little string above each knee, and we're like marionettes. Somebody is pulling that knee up towards the ceiling. Now we're using our arms behind us, trying not to lean back. Keep that torso nice and tall. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're going to bring the feet down in front of us. And now, let's tap our right foot long, bring it back, left foot and back. So if we are back in our seats the whole way, this is where we really want to scoot slightly forward. Less of the chair under our thighs. That's going to give us a little bit more warming sensation up into the hips. And our joints are self-lubricating. So as we start to move into the knees, the ankles, we are going to feel a little more comfortable through the joints. That's why sometimes in the mornings we feel a little creaky or cracky. And then as the day goes on, those joints start to settle in and quiet down a little bit. All right, let's go for 4 more. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, let's take our hands to our hips, roll the shoulders, reset that posture. Now we're going to start with our right leg. We're going to tap our heel to the front and bring it back. Heel and back. So just by switching it up a little bit, touching with the heel instead of the toes, notice we feel it differently in the leg. We might start to feel the back of the thigh, our hamstring, coming into play a little bit more. We want to keep a slight micro bend at the knee as we kick that heel out and in. And we are still pulling the belly button in. We want to try and maintain that abdominal brace throughout our movement here. Out and in. All right, let's do 4 more. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woo, all right, bring it back in. All right, we're gonna reset. Roll the shoulders and sit up nice and tall. All right, now we're gonna think about moving through the hip. So if we have arms on our chairs, we gotta scoot to the front so that those arms are not in our way. We're gonna hold on to the arms of our chairs, or we're gonna put our hands in the seat behind us. We're gonna lift our right leg up. We're gonna open, we're gonna close, and we're gonna put that foot back down. So we lift, hover the foot just about an inch or 2 above the floor, open and close from the top of the thigh, and put the foot down. Lift, open, close, and down. So you wanna think about keeping our hips facing forward. It's just that leg that's moving. We're anchoring with the opposite foot. That leg is keeping our hips forward facing. And we're staying strong here. Lift, open. Now again, we're trying not to lean back from the torso. So as we move that leg out and in, we are staying tall. Think vertical here. Let's do 2 more. Lift, open, close, and down. 1 more. Lift, open, close, and down. Give that leg a little wiggle. Woo! Just release through the hip there. We're gonna take it to the other side. All right, reset. Roll the shoulders. Hold on lightly to the arms, shoulders away from the ears. That's arms of our chair. Or we can take those hands back behind us if our chair does not have arms. All right, switching to the other side. So we're gonna lift, open, close, and down. So think about that string at the top of the knee, guiding that knee out, bringing it back to center, and put it down. Lift, open, close, and down. Lift, open, close, and down. Now don't worry if our range of motion is quite different one side versus the other. As long as we're lifting that leg and moving it out and in, we're building some strength up here in the hip. Lift. If this is our first time doing this, this might be quite a challenging movement. So maybe we take a break. Maybe we put the foot down, take a rest, skip 1 or 2, and then come back in with me. Remember, a little bit of movement is better than no movement at all. We can do a little bit more each and every time we come back to this exercise. Put it on down. Woo. All right, let's give those legs a little wiggle. We are going to get ready to get up out of our seats. So to do that, we want to start from our place of success here. Toes are lined up across the front, feet and knees in line with our hips. We're either going to use the seat of the chair or the arms of the chair. We're going to get a little momentum hinging forward at the hips. We're going to press through the feet, slowly rising. We're going to stand up nice and tall. Let's bring our feet in towards each other, and we're going to make our way around to the back of our seats. So we just want to make sure that we have a little bit of space, and we're going to think of our chair as our sturdy dance partner here. So we're going to keep both hands on our seat as we come to standing, and we're going to take our feet about the width of our chair legs here, maybe a tiny bit wider. We're going to turn our toes and knees slightly out. All right, now I'm going to move my chair out of the way just so that we can see what's happening with our feet, but I want you to keep your chair in front of you and keep your hands on it. All right, so my chair is moving out of the way just so we have a good view of what we're doing. Imagine my chair here, it's invisible in front of me. I'm going to hold on and I'm going to lift my left heel as I press my right ball of the foot down into the ground. I'm going to pass back through center, and then I'm going to lift the opposite heel. So we're basically doing a little rock side to side, switching our weight from one leg and then to the other. As we come into the center here and both heels land for that split second, we're going to soften our knees just a touch, and then we're going to push And we're going to straighten the leg, switching that weight from side to side. Now, keeping our fingertips on our chairs for stability. We want to feel the hips. So a little squeeze through the outside of the glutes or the outside of the butt cheeks here as we press the floor away. And we're keeping that core engaged. So the whole upper body is switching with us from side to side. Again, imagine my fingertips on my invisible chair here in front of me. Press and press. Push and push. And this is a really great way that we can work on strengthening our legs. We don't need a whole lot of space to do this. Start to feel the calves really lighting up here. Pushing to lift that ball or the heel off the floor. Push and push. All right, let's do 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're gonna land both heels and we're gonna carefully step our feet in. So now we wanna have our toes facing forward. Our chair is still in front of us. Let's roll the shoulders up and around, and we're gonna reset that tall, lifted posture. With our fingertips still on our chair. Now we're gonna take our left leg and we're gonna tap our toes out to the side, and we're gonna bring the foot back in, and we're gonna switch to the other direction and in. So we're working a little bit of balance here. We're keeping our weight in the leg that is underneath of us. We can have a light touch on our chair, maybe just a fingertip, out and in, out and in. Now, as we step into that leg that is underneath of us, we are squeezing through the outside of that hip. Think about keeping everything in line here. Step and in, step and in. Make the leg long as we take it out to the side. And see if we can keep the knee front facing here. So the knee is pointing towards me. We're touching down with the inside of the big toe. Out and in. Let's do 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew, all right, bring it back in. So we should feel a little heat there in the side of the hips. Now we're gonna take our chair from the front of us and we're gonna bring it around to the side. So we wanna have access to the back of the chair. We're gonna hold on to it with one hand. All right, so we are lined up here with our chair. Our feet start in what we call our home base. Toes lined up across the front, feet are hip distance apart. We're gonna take our inside leg and we're gonna take a natural step forward. Right away, that back heel lifts. I want you to press out of the back ball of the foot, come forward into the front leg, and then we're gonna roll to the back. Come forward and roll back. So just a minute ago, we were switching our weight, rocking side to side. Now we're rocking front and back. We want to try and keep our hips facing forward here. And as we come front, we want to stop when that foot comes flat to the ground. So we don't need to go any further. We want to keep the heel down. As we go to the back, notice what happens in our front foot here. Toes lift up. That's our signal that that weight has fully shifted into that back leg. Now from a little side angle view here, the torso is coming with us. So we're keeping the hips and the ribs stacked. As we come into our front leg, torso comes over that front leg. As we roll to the back, torso comes back with us. Press forward. So what we're trying not to do, I'm going to demonstrate real quickly. This is what we don't want. We don't want to hinge at the hips. We're not leaning back and then rocking forward. We're taking that whole upper body with us. There, we got it now. Forward and back. All right, let's do 3 more. Forward and back. Forward and back. One more time. Forward and back. All right, we're gonna land both feet. We're gonna carefully step that back foot in And now we're going to take our outside leg, the one that's farthest away from our chair, and we're going to step that one to the front. So we want to do that same thing. Feet are at least hip distance apart. Build that stability from the ground up. We're going to push out of the back ball of the foot, come into the front leg, and then we're going to roll it back. Forward and back. So at first, we might be like, oh, this feels like not very much happening here. Repetition is where we're going to really start to feel those muscles firing. And I encourage you, do this as many times during the week as we can. Every time we pass through the kitchen, maybe we're waiting for something to heat up on the stove, or waiting for water to boil for our coffee or tea in the morning. It's a great time to work these little movements into our days. We can hold on to the counter. Rock back and front. So remember, hips are facing forward here. We're keeping everything square. Back and front. All right, let's do 5 more. Back. Really push out of that back ball of the foot. Feel that contraction in the calf as the heel lifts. Are we breathing? We're going to keep checking in with that too. We want to keep nice, even in and out breaths. All right, one more time. Roll it to the back, roll it to the front, and we're going to let both feet land. We're going to step that front foot in. All right, now we want to line ourselves up with the front edge of our chair. So this front leg here, that's where we're going to start. We're going to begin with our inside foot. We're going to step the foot right back, roll, and then we're going to return to our home base. So as we return to our home base, we want to line the toes back up across the front. Step back and front. So think about where those feet are landing. Since we're not walking around our space right now, we're just working on our steps. You can think about a little accuracy in our movement. Step back and come forward. How balanced do we feel as that body takes our weight into the back leg? And then as we come back to front, can we find our way back to our balance, equally distributing between our right and left feet? And in. Back and in. Let's do 2 more. Back and in. And 1 more. Back and in. All right, we're going to switch. We're going to start to move that outside leg. Let's step back and together. Back and together. Now my chair's a little bit wobbly here because I'm on a slightly uneven surface. But again, make sure at your house when you're working from home, you get a nice stable chair. Back and together. And again, too, if you're watching from maybe the kitchen, you can hold on to that counter if that works for you. Back and together. Let's do 6 more. Back. Now, if we feel a little wobbly as we step back, make sure that we're not bringing the feet too close into center. Step back and together. And remember that whole upper body is coming along and together. 2 more. Back and together. And 1 more time. Back and together. All right, now we're going to work on some balance by tapping our toes to the front. So holding on to our chair, let's start with our inside leg. We're going to tap toes in front and bring them back. Toes in front and bring them back. Front and in, front and in. Switching that weight leg to leg. Reach and in, reach and in. Out and in. Now again, stabilizing through that torso. So we're keeping our ribs over our hips. Here's our side angle view. So as we reach forward, torso stays elevated. Reach and in, reach and in. Out and out. Let's do 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're going to bring it on back in. All right, now we're gonna take our feet and we're gonna tap our toes behind us. So let's hold on to our chair. Let's start with that inside leg. So we're gonna lift and we're gonna tap the foot behind and we're gonna come back in. Let's switch behind and in. Touch down with the tips of the toes. And as we get more comfortable with the movement, I'm just turning to show us a little side angle view. Think about starting to straighten the leg as much as we can. Lifting up through the back of the knee. And notice here, we are staying vertical with the torso. So we're engaging the abdominals. We're gonna feel work happening here through the lower back and through the glutes. That's our butt cheeks. We are squeezing as we extend. Out and in, out and in. Let's do 3 more. 3, 2, and last one. All right, come on back in. All right, now we're gonna take our weight into the outside leg. We're gonna take our inside foot. I want you to step to me, and then we're gonna step all the way through to the back. So we're going past that home base. We're taking a step forward. We pick the leg up and we take a step to the back. Forward and back. Forward and back. Now this hip on the outside here is working hard. We are rolling through that supporting leg foot and back. Forward and back. All right, let's do 2 more. Forward and back. And one more time. Forward. And we're going to take our chair over to the other side. We're going to do the same movement, but we're going to use the other leg. So we're going to move that chair over so that that inside leg that's moving feels really supported. Maybe we take our hand to the outside hip, step to me, roll back through, step behind, step forward, and back. So picking the foot up high enough that we can clear the floor as that step comes through, forward, and back. I want to try not to look down at our feet. Maybe we look 8 to 10 feet out in front of us. Imagine we have books piled up on top of our heads here. We're trying not to let them fall off. Back and front. All right, let's do 5 more. Still giving a little squeeze to the outside of the hip, the glute here. Feeling stable as we roll through that supporting leg. All right, let's do 2 more. Forward and back. Last one. Forward and back. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to come forward. We're going to do a little bit of movement for our core and our hips. So our hands are in our laps. Again, toes lined up across the front, feet and knees in line with our hips. We're going to make a circle with our shoulders. So we're going to start to move around from our hips. They call these a seated hula hoop. Building a little bit of core strength and a little bit of strength into our hip flexors as well. Now we're about halfway up in our seats. That gives us space so that we can pass the shoulders behind our hips. Bending and straightening at our elbows here. Maybe as we come to the front, we create a little more length right from the base of the spine up through the crown of the head. All right, take it around one more time. We're going to find a good pausing point for us. I'm going to turn to the side just so we get a side angle view. We're going to switch directions with our circle. So we're sitting up nice and tall, and we're going to switch directions. So from our side angle here, hopefully we can see that neutral spine. Inhaling as the shoulders pass behind the hips. Exhaling as we hinge forward. Now throughout, see if we can continue to press our feet evenly down into the floor. The more we can keep the feet connected as the shoulders pass behind the hips, the more we are going to be using our upper and lower abdominals. Let's take it around 2 more times. And we are going to come on back to center. Our final stretch of the day, we're going to take our left leg. We want to extend that leg out, pull the toes back to us. We have a slight bend at the knee, and our hands are going to rest on our right thigh. That leg is bent for support. We're going to lift up tall through the spine, and then as we exhale, we want to lengthen, tipping from the hips to come forward. So we're going to keep pressing the heel down into the floor, and we are creating length all the way up the back of this thigh. And make sure that we are seated back far enough in our chairs, it doesn't feel like it's going to slip out from underneath of us. We might inhale, sit up an inch or 2. Maybe we scoot back in our seats just a touch. And then as we exhale, we can hinge a little further forward. Think about keeping our head in line with our spine. Just letting our eye gaze land on the floor in between the feet. All right, we're going to use our arms. We're going to press ourselves back up nice and tall. I'm going to demonstrate side angle view for this other leg. So again, we're towards the front of our seats. We're going to kick our right leg out this time. We're going to pull our toes back towards us, and our hands come to rest on the opposite bent leg. All right, we're going to lift up nice and tall. Think about that nice lifted posture. And then as we exhale, we hinge from the hips to come forward. So we want to keep a light squeeze in between our shoulder blades. Chest is square to our laps. And we should feel that good stretch all the way up the back of this leg. On our inhale, we might sit ourselves up a couple of inches, supporting ourselves with our arms, and then we're going to exhale, hinge back into that stretch. Remember, we're finding our range of motion. That is really going to vary person to person. See if we can try and keep the roundness out of the back. Keep lengthening. Let's take one more breath. And we're going to sit ourselves back up nice and tall. Let's draw that leg back in. I'm going to turn to face front again. And let's take a big sweeping breath together. So just bring the arms up and back down. Let's take one more big deep breath together. Inhale and exhale. And that is our strengthening for today, our getting ready to get up and walk, making sure that our legs, our hips are nice and strong. So thank you guys for joining me today. And try and do this a couple times a week, or like I said, anytime you're in the kitchen holding on to a surface, try and work in some of those stepping movements. Thank you. Have a great day.